Hi, I'm Stephanie, and this is my daughter Leah, and she and I are going to show you how to make one of our family's favorite, all-time favorite thing, and it's homemade bread. And with the same recipe, it's also a homemade cinnamon bread, which your family will absolutely love and eat it up within minutes. First, we start off with 2 teaspoons of yeast. Pour it in. All of it. Good. Next, 1 teaspoon of salt. And it's going to be the same for both recipes. This is the French bread recipe and also the cinnamon bread recipe. Do you like to help Mom? And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Pour it fast. Good girl. 1 1/4 cup of milk, and this has actually been warmed in the microwave for 1 minute. Good. 2 tablespoons of butter, and it doesn't have to be soft. Plop, just regular butter. And I use salted butter. I don't like unsalted butter. I think the flavor with the salted butter is just a little bit better. 1 egg. And then 3 cups of flour. And with my flour, just a second, how I do my flour, I don't like to pack the flour. If you pack the flour, the bread kind of doesn't come out as soft and fluffy or airy and light. So I kind of just toss my flour a little bit inside the container. I just kind of poke my knife in it, and then I just slide it right off like that. Okay, here's 1. Good. And 2. Okay, you can pour it in. And 1 more. 3. And then one thing that I kind of maybe cheat a little bit with making my bread is I use a bread maker. Now I don't use the bread maker to bake the bread, but I use the bread maker to help me knead it and let it rise inside the bread maker. So we're gonna come over here, come join me, just a second, Leah. Okay, so over here I keep my bread makers. I actually own 2 of them, so I can do 2 loaves at a time. One reason I really like the bread maker is because the bread maker is warm inside and it kneads it and rises it and kneads it and rises it all in the same place, and I don't even have to worry about it, but it just is a great climate for bread making in your dough. On your bread maker, you make sure that you select your dough setting. My dough setting is number 6. So push start, and in about an hour and a half, I'll have my dough all ready. So it's been an hour and a half, and if you open this up, look at this beautiful dough. So you just kind of take it out here, lift up. We'll carry it into the kitchen. First, let's make sure we flour our surface. You know, a generous amount of flour. I also kind of like to move it around, that way I have flour in my hands so that it's not super sticky. And I just plop this right out onto our floured surface here. There we go. And I just kind of roll it around in the flour so that it doesn't stick. I mean, it's going to kind of stick, but just so it doesn't really stick to the countertop. Then I kind of make like a little log. I don't want to pound it out too much. I have the rolling pin here, but the rolling pin I'm going to use more for the cinnamon bread. Actually, I am just going to use the rolling pin just a little bit to make it a little wider.
I want to do it.
You want to use the rolling pin?
Yeah.
She's my little helper. Anytime I'm in the kitchen, she loves to help me. All right, sis. Roll it out. Good job. As you can tell, this is a great activity to do with your children. What little child doesn't love to help their mom cook in the kitchen? All right, good job.
The boys don't.
No, sometimes they do, huh? All right, now I'm going to use my pizza cutter. There is a couple ways you can do this type of bread. You can either cut it in 3 strips and just do a braid, or I'm going to do a different kind of a braid and cut it into 5 strips. So you don't want to cut it all the way to the top. You kind of want to leave it connected. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you kind of just take your dough and you go over, under, over, under, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and then over. And then again, under, over, under, over, and just repeat this until...
Is that how you do my hair, like that?
Do I do your hair like this?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't braid your hair like this. Maybe we could try braiding your hair like this.
It would hurt.
It wouldn't hurt. All right, and then you have these extra pieces, and I just kind of squish them together and just kind of tuck them under. And then with the top, I just kind of tuck the top under too. Oh, now doesn't that look so nice? Look how pretty that looks. All right, then, as you can tell, my cookie sheet has been well used. This is where I obviously lay my loaf of bread. I just do a light spray so it doesn't do too much sticking. The nice thing about this dough, it is really pliable, so you can just pick it up, lay it right back down, and it's perfect. And then you want to put it into a preheated oven at 350, which it's ready. My oven has been preheated, and it gets put in for 23 minutes. All right, sis. Ready to go. Perfect. One more time. One more time. Good. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. All right. Now, because it's kind of like cinnamon rolls, but instead I'm making it into a cinnamon bread. So I take a little cake spatula.
Can I spread it?
Yeah, hold on. And then we're just gonna lightly spread out just enough butter to get all over the dough. Okay, you can get it just a second. You wanna do this one?
Yeah.
All right, spread it around. And I really love using the offset spatula because the knife, your hands kind of get buttery, and this just works out a little bit nicer than just using a buttered knife. All right, next you have your brown sugar. And you know, I don't really measure too much, but it's probably about 3/4 of a cup to
Can I
a
spread
cup.
it again? Because I like
Some
to
of my
spread.
brown sugar is kind of
I
hard.
like
And if
to
your brown sugar has little rocks in it,
I like
it's
this.
totally fine because it will all melt out in the cooking. And if you want more or less sugar, so that is perfect. She likes to eat the little sugar rocks. She thinks they're yummy. All right, then you can sprinkle on some cinnamon. I just lightly sprinkle cinnamon. And I'll just kind of rub it all in together like that. Now, instead of cutting it like I did with the braided bread, I'm actually going to fold it in thirds. So you take one side and you fold it in, and you take the other side and you fold it on top. And just kind of stretch it so it's kind of even. And then I like to pinch my edges so that nothing really comes out. Pinch all along the sides. And then pinch the bottom together as well. So you kind of have like
You kind of have to.
a little blanket filled cinnamon and sugar.
And then you kind of have to pat it.
And then you kind of have to pat it. And then I cut this in half. So you start in the center and you cut it in half like that. And this is where it gets kind of messy, but you know what? It's baking, so it's fun. And then I kind of roll it upwards and I roll it over to one side, get the other one and roll it over to one side. And then I just kind of twist it. Twist. And yeah, it will kind of fall out a little bit, but that's okay. So you kind of twist that, kind of scrunch it together so it's not super huge. But this way, when you eat this, every piece of this bread is just covered in butter and cinnamon and sugar. It's delicious. Now you just need to get a cookie sheet. And I also like using parchment paper. It just is less mess, less cleanup. And so I line it with a little bit of parchment, spray lightly with Pam, pick this puppy up and just lay it.
It's a puppy.
It's a puppy. Pick that up and lay that right on there. And again, this will also go into the oven at 350 for 23 minutes. All right, the cinnamon bread is done. Look at how gorgeous that looks. All cinnamony and buttery. Oh my gosh, I wish there was something called smell-o-vision because my kitchen smells divine. You would die right now. All right, the next step for the cinnamon bread, before you can taste it, it's gotta have its glaze, its special frosting on it. So that's the next step. We'll make that right now. In this mixing bowl, it's a nice pliable mixing bowl, I have melted 1/3 cup of butter, and I do again use the salted butter. Next, I have some vanilla, and you know, I like vanilla, and so let me just see, I use a tablespoon, maybe even 2 tablespoons, because I think it tastes really good. So 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and 2 cups of powdered sugar. 1 and 2. And it's going to be really thick, so after you mix it a little bit, and it's kind of thick and really not frosting or like a glaze, then you will slowly add in some hot water. And so in this other little dish, I have some hot water. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon at a time, and I'm going to just start with 1 tablespoon of hot water and just kind of get it to the consistency that I like. You don't want it to be really, really runny, but you don't want it to be really thick either. This is a little bit too thick. I don't want a whole tablespoon, so I might just do now another little teaspoon of hot water. So try that. And that's better. It's just a little bit more runny. And it's kind of brown from the vanilla, but it is gonna taste so, so yummy. Do you wanna come watch?
I'm gonna mix that.
I already did?
I
I already did the water. All right, so then with this, it's nice because it's pliable and I can just pour it so easily.
Why is there so more water?
Because I only needed a little bit. And then you just start and you just slowly drizzle this over. And I like to make sure that every inch of this bread is covered. So we'll go down.
Okay,
and
that's
then
not gonna be good.
Go up.
Can you be quiet, please?
And just kind of frost all over it. Getting it on every section of the bread.
You don't need to.
Yes, is this yummy?
No.
Whatever. So good.
It's hot.
It is a little warm.
No.
And then some of the parts where it had, let me just get a little spatula here. You don't want to waste this stuff. This is yummy. I'm gonna make it go kind of all over the
cinnamon.
Yummy, yummy, right, sis? So good. And there's some that kind of spills over, and if you want it to be on every section, just get a spoon and then you can kind of re-pour it onto every part.
It always does that.
I know, right?
Can I lick it?
You want to lick it? Do you like it? So good. Who doesn't like to lick it? Yummy. And
Everyone
then
likes to lick it.
everyone likes to lick it. And then now that it is all covered and so good, now you can actually,
Lick it.
should I cut it? Cut a piece of bread. Cut it right down here so you can see the inside of the bread too. And I think the best part about this bread, I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom is all crusty, the glaze, the cinnamon, the sugar. Let's just try this. You want to try it, sis? No? That's yummy. So the best part about this bread, not only is it simple, and in an hour and a half you have like the yummiest homemade bread, but there's no downtime. You don't need to sit it and let it raise for an additional hour after the bread maker. It can come right out of the bread maker and go straight into your oven. Anyway, here is the braid bread that you can have with dinner. And here is your cinnamon bread that you can have as a dessert or breakfast in the morning or after school snack or whatever. But anyway, enjoy. I hope you liked it. Leave me your comments below and see what I can do to improve or any ideas of what you'd like to see in the future. Thanks. Bye.